Tom Izzo and Michigan State looking to advance to the Elite Eight for the first time since 2019. Spartans made the Final Four that year and lost to Chris Beard when he was at Texas Tech. Beard trying to lead Ole Miss to their first Elite Eight appearance in school history. Late first half, Jamin Brakefield, floater, up and in. Rebels up 10, their largest lead of the game. Late first half, Michigan State down 8 off a missed free throw. Jace Richardson ends up with it. Shoot the three. Buries it. Spartans down 5. He only had one made field goal in their last game. He had 10 points in the first half. His dad, an NBA great, Jason Richardson in the house, part of that 2000 team to win the Natty at Michigan State. Next possession, Jaden Akins for 3. Spartans end the first half on a 12-4 run, down 2 at the break. Beard 8-0 when leading at halftime. Izzo 13 wins when trailing at the half. Something's got to give. Early second, Jace Richardson can't handle the pass, tries to save it. Sean Padula, let me get that steal, let me get that bucket. Rebels up by 5. 2 minutes later, Padula drives, finds David Barnes. Bottom of your screen, long 2. Got it. Up 7. Get out your seat. Mid-second half, Spartans down 4. Jace Richardson, corner 3. The freshman, knock it down. Down 1. Part of a 14-2 Spartans run. Let's go. 4 minutes to play. Michigan State down 1. Sean Padula's pass deflected. Cohen Carr rocking the rim. First collegiate start in his hometown of Atlanta puts the Spartans up 1. Oh, yeah, so nice. Let's see it twice. Minute later, tied at 61. Richardson, scoop to the hoop. Finished with a team-high 20 points on 6 of 8, 6 rebounds. Spartans up 2. Under 2 to go. Oh, Jaden Akins gets that to go. Up 2 with just over a minute to go. The emotions of March. 40 seconds to play. Carson Cooper, big boy bucket. Michigan State up 4. They sealed at the free throw line. January, February, Izzo. A second half team indeed, 56% from the floor, and Michigan State wins it 73-70, outscoring Ole Miss 34-22 over the final 12 minutes, advancing to the Elite Eight for the first time since 2019, the 11th Elite Eight appearance under head coach Tom Izzo, 70 years young, and Izzo feeling the emotions of the moment.
Coach, are you tearing up?
No. I'm just excited. We didn't play very good the first half. I thought the toughness thing was a factor. Give these guys credit. They bounced back in the second half, played better. I didn't think we were great, but that is a hell of a team we played. Toughest team I've played in years.
What is it about your team?
I love these guys. You know, it's simple. You know, they don't quit. We've been a second half team. One of these days we're going to be a first half team.
You are crying, but I'm going to move on away from you for a second and talk to this freshman over here. You deserve all of this love, and I saw you embracing the moment at the end. What is it about this big-time game that you step up when it matters most?
I think my teammates, last game I didn't think I played really well for these guys, so I told them in the locker room I'm going to be better for these guys. So just stepping up, they believed in me, and I was getting open shots today.
Well, you know, up next, it's either #1 Auburn or your in-state rival. What are you guys going to be thinking when that game goes on right after this?
Whoever comes out, we're ready. We're ready. We're ready to fight for 40 minutes. We're ready to get to the Final Four.
Appreciate it. Enjoy this win.
Thank you.
That is now 8 wins when trailing at the half since the start of February for Michigan State, and that is now 14 tournament wins when trailing at the half for Tom Izzo. That's tied for the most all-time with Mike Krzyzewski. Izzo now a perfect 10-0 against the SEC in the NCAA tournament. Ole Miss head coach Chris Beard postgame.
I think I'm most thankful for, and really why my emotions are different right now than at the end of any season, is I'm just thankful. I mean, what these guys did, is they raised expectations. It wasn't about, like, we've made it. It was about, let's get to work. 6 games in 3 weekends. And for that, I'll forever be thankful. And just, I know they're going to do that for the rest of their lives, too. You know, like, whatever they want, they're going to go get. I've been blessed to coach a lot of really good teams. But these guys were different and just, I mean, literally, like, we walked around expecting to win the SEC, expecting to win every game, and expecting to make it to San Antonio. And it was beautiful to be around.
So how was this game won? Glad you asked. Here's how. Michigan State outscored Ole Miss 34-22 in the final 12 minutes. They were 11 of 14, an eye-popping 11 of 14 from the field. That's good for 79%. This after starting 13 of 34. Michigan State, a second-half team, and they are on to the Elite Eight.
Well, first of all, that team was the toughest, most physical defensive team that we played in years. It reminded me of the old Gene Cady, Clem Haskins teams when I started in this profession. And they did a good job, and I didn't think we did a very good job. We got stymied a lot. I love these guys because they keep grinding. They kept grinding. Getting close before half was very critical. At halftime, we felt like we could drive the ball a little bit more. Trey drove it. These guys drove it. Jace made some big shots. Cohen, a couple big blocks. And Jaden made a big three, and then those free throws at the end. So it's hard to believe that 2 days we're playing for a chance to do one of the all-time great things in any basketball player's life, and that's play for a Final Four. And I'm proud and happy for them. They've earned it. They've deserved it. They did it.
Okay, we'll open up with questions. Myron, we'll go to you first. Third row on the left.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN. Jaden, coaches have called this one of the most connected teams that he has coached. What is it about this team that has allowed you all to have the chemistry that we saw out there today?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I feel like it just go back to the summer. Ever since we got all our guys on the team, we always hang out off the court and do a lot of things off the court, and that just leads to our chemistry on the court, really, and everybody just wants the best for each other.
We got right here on the front row on the right.
Yeah, Mike Griffith from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Jace, looked like you heated up in the first half. Can you just talk about that run you got on there?
I just felt like my teammates was putting me in positions to be successful today. I told them after the New Mexico game that I owe them a game because I felt like I wasn't that good in that game. So I knew I had to come out here and make one up for these guys.
Third row on the left.
Dan Walken, USA Today. For Jace and Jaden, what did it take physically and mentally to finally break the paint against that defense? And just how difficult was it in the first half when you weren't able to do that?
I think for us in the first half, we weren't being as aggressive as we should have been. I felt like they were kind of just punking us in the beginning. We couldn't get to the paint, shooting decent shots, but not great shots. But I think second half, it really opened up for us. We were being more aggressive. We're getting downhill. We're getting driving kicks. So I felt like we were at our best in that second half.
Down front here on the right.
Robbie LaStella, Bracketeer.org. My question's for Jace. Jace, Tom mentioned yesterday that the game you guys played here against Kansas was when he really saw what you could do against veteran guards. Was there any bit of that game in your mind today? And have you ever had a 20-point performance like that in as big of a game like this?
I mean, Coach brought it up, the Kansas game yesterday. He was kind of just talking about that was the first time he really felt me, like, kind of be myself. So it was kind of in the back of my mind, but I knew just coming into this game, it was a huge game for us because we knew Ole Miss was going to be a really tough team. So for me, I just wanted to come in, try to make a positive impact, and just make big plays.
In studio here, Adam Finkelstein and Tim Doyle. And Tim, that game came down to the wire. Michigan State, clearly a second-half team. It's been their narrative. It's over, right? You can shed the fraud narrative. It is over because clearly Ole Miss proved that they are not frauds, hanging in this game, almost beating Michigan State. But your thoughts as this game just comes to an end?
Tom Izzo has called his team a second-half team. He wants them to become a first-half team and a second-half team. You just felt like they were within striking distance. Even though Ole Miss had a lead in that first half, it wasn't wide enough. And I look at Tom Izzo, I'm shocked that he's still on the sidelines, still doing his thing when so many others of his peers have walked away from the game, Adam. And his sauce is more like gravy. You know, go through it. Jaden Akins, 4 years in the program. Cohen Carr gets his first start, second year in the program. Cooper makes an enormous hoop. It's his third year in the program. Fears, second-year guy. Jace Richardson, obviously a freshman. Like, he hasn't gone outside the box. His sauce is unique. It's been homegrown. It's fermented. It's waited a while to kind of mature. But this squad is not sexy at all. Jace Richardson's an amazing talent. He was 6 of 8 from the field. He was ultra efficient in this game. But they do all the little things. Ole Miss actually won the rebounding battle. And Adam got a big game from its star player, Sean Padula. But but it wasn't enough.
No, it wasn't enough because they got stagnant offensively in that second half. And other than Padula, they really couldn't come up with offense. And I thought that last ball screen where Cooper rolled to the rim and got that go-ahead bucket, there was a late communication in that switch, and just that subtle defensive breakdown turns out to be such a big play. And when you're playing these low possession games, every possession counts so much, and you can't have a late switch. The late switch is going to cost you a game. Obviously, it doesn't come down to one possession, but credit where credit is due. Jace Richardson, 20 points, coming off a 1-for-10 performance against New Mexico the last round. The freshman really rising to the occasion.
Well, for Ole Miss, you got to get stops. I mean, check this out. Last 14 field goal attempts, Hakeem, you talked about it. Michigan State great in the second half, but that's out of line. 11 of 14. They were executing at a high level. Tom Izzo is still running the same plays that they were running when I was there. And the calls are like elementary. Point to the eye, tap on top of the head, elbow. But now that he has guys that have been in the program, this is my point, like now it's more efficient. Like we knew what they were running, we just couldn't stop it because they were so efficient at what they're doing. He's been able to keep some guys in the program, which is hard to do now in college basketball. He has a star in Richardson, and it's this time of year for him. How many years have we sat up here and been like, February, Izzo. January, February, Izzo, it's his time to shine.
What is this identity of this team, this Michigan State team?
I think everyone just understands their roles.
Okay.
And that is a huge part right now, Adam. When I was coming up, that was like rarely talked about. Now with all the transfers, it's so hard to get continuity. And then you bring a guy in, he might have averaged 18 at some school, but now you're asking him to average 6 and 6 rebounds, and he has everyone buying into their roles.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say, because the context is important here. Under the modern era of college basketball in NIL and the transfer portal, to still build a team based on defense and rebounding, it sounds prehistoric, but that's exactly what they have done. We are talking about the 4th best defensive team in the country. They still clean the glass better than everybody. They're a top 10 defensive rebounding team in the country. This is the same philosophy we've seen. The play calls are the same, Tim. So is the defense and the rebounding. Now they're just paying players and getting them out of the transfer portal.
And I think when you're with a group for a long time, because we just showed the comebacks there, there's a trust. You know, there's a trust when, you know, you're like, oh, we've been through this before. When you're a new team or you're a team that's been thrown together or you're trying to blend guys, they lack that trust because you just don't have that history. You don't have that track record, right? You don't have that is past performances. Like as for this Michigan State team, even when they were trailing in this game, and trust me, I wasn't happy because I have them in my bracket and Ole Miss has proved me wrong in this tournament. I never lost faith. I don't know about you guys. Did you guys think this game was like kind of getting out of reach for them? Did you think Ole Miss was in control?
I didn't, because I've watched Michigan State so many times this season. They're a second-half team. That's their identity. They love comebacks. Again, this was their 8th win when trailing at the half since the start of February.
When it got to 10, they needed to respond, and give them credit, they did respond. But had they not at that point, you were at risk of that getting too far. But they responded at 10, and I thought that was critical.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, I talk about how teams are being built now, and I call it what's your sauce. I am genuinely surprised that Tom Izzo got back on top. Like, I thought it was trending. I'm just being honest. Like, I thought the game had kind of passed him by, and the new rules, and he wasn't going to adjust to NIL, and he actually made his own adjustments. He was like, okay, I'll take less talented guys that are maybe going to stick around. He recruits a guy like Jace Richardson, whose dad played for him. You know, we're getting old enough that now we could talk about guys' dads playing for them. It's pretty amazing because he ended my career at the United Center in 2007, and they shook my hand, and he goes, you really maximized your talent. I didn't want to hear any of that. I was like, does that mean I was bad or good? But it's pretty cool.
I don't think that was a compliment.
I think it was like you were really good for a bad guy. I think that's what he was trying to say. But I thought, I don't know about you, I thought the game and the rules were just kind of passed him by, and he wasn't going to adjust to them.
I think we really have to give his staff credit there, because the level of talent in the program, it has resurged in the last few years. And credit to Doug Wojcik and the rest of the staff there. They've recruited at a real high level, and then they've retained, to your point, because it used to be about recruitment. Now it's recruitment and retention. It's like an HR division in college basketball, and you got to have both, and they do have both.
You know, he's been doing it now since the 90s and won a national championship with Mateen Cleaves and Mo Peterson. Matt Ishbia was on that team. And, you know, Matt's been a wildly successful entrepreneur. Tom's embraced him in the program. He owns the Phoenix Suns right now.
I'd embrace him too.
Yeah, but I think he still has like that old school family. No offense to Darren DeVries. Like, if he preaches family, like I smile because, you know, the guy's had 3 jobs in 3 years now. And the way these coaches are bouncing around, that was like a huge thing when I was being recruited in 2001, 2002. It's family here. Well, now families are like, we're adopting new kids every year. Dad's leaving home once in a while. He's not coming back. Like, the family structure is pretty wild. Izzo still has like the old school family structure, and it's reaping the results.
And you saw a post-game.
30 seasons.
He's tearing up.
30 seasons at Michigan State.
And he's tearing up post-game as guys are jumping. I mean, it's like the old grandpa that all the kids are happy to see. I mean, that's a different kind of culture in this day and age.
Yeah, don't know if we'll see it again. Right? Like, don't know if we'll see it again. Because that's like really, you know, we grew up with it. John Thompson, Louis Conaseca, Coach K, Dean Smith, right? It's like this new era, coaches like kind of get out before they get removed. And then if you have a couple bad seasons, you don't get stuck with anymore.
And coaches are afraid to hold you accountable. And it's the coaches who really push you farther than you've been pushed before that you have a bigger bond with when it's all said and done. And Izzo's still old school in that way.
I will say this about Ole Miss. Chris Beard's an awesome coach.
He is. He has bounced around lately, but he has found a home here at Ole Miss for now.
Yeah, I mean, he had some things going off the court. You know, I've heard multiple reports about the different things, necessarily not true. And anyway, let's talk basketball here. The guy can really coach. Because this team, I had watched them periodically this year, down 10 at LSU with 3 minutes left. You know, I watched that entire game. That's where I kind of came up with I was like, who's LSU? But they ended up coming back and winning that game. Watched them against Auburn multiple times. And I was like, this team struggles. If Purdue is not getting going, that's what I saw a couple of games.
It's a fact.
I was like, they have a tough time scoring. But you know, they proved me wrong. They had an awesome year. They took Michigan State right down to the wire. I think it was pretty cool for me to be bulletin board material.
Well, I don't know if you saw, there was a guy that looked like Bob Ross, and he had a button that said frauds on it, and they were passing them out to the Ole Miss fans. He was going to paint you a picture. Yeah, he was going to paint you a picture.
I had Michigan State winning this game, so I was sticking with them in the region. I'll tell you guys my plan now. If they had won this game, I was going to pull, like in Rocky IV, Rocky went to Russia to fight Drago because he killed Apollo, okay? The crowd hated Rocky at the beginning of the match.
If I can change and you can change,
everybody can change.
There you go.
I was going to do the Russian crowd in Rocky IV. I was going to go full Ole Miss if they won this game. I'm just telling you what I was going to do. I was going to completely 180 and be all the bandwagon because whoever they play in their next game, I would have been all. So I was already thinking about the idea.
There he is.
They've earned my respect.
We found it.
Yeah, there he is right there, yeah.
Frauds.
He's going to practice next year, everybody.
So Tom Izzo now 10-0 against teams in the SEC. He could be facing an SEC team in the next round or their in-state rival in Michigan, who they beat twice in the regular season. Do you want to see Auburn because you want to beat the best, the #1 overall seed, or you'd rather see a common opponent and try to beat them for a third time?
I would have to talk to the coaching staff because sometimes you just have a team's number. I'm serious. Like, you're like, oh, we want to see them. I think fans would say, oh, you don't want to try to beat a team 3 times in a season. It's really tough to do.
What's Tennessee doing?
I think Auburn's significantly better than Michigan.
Yeah,
so I'd rather see Michigan.
Yeah, I would rather see Michigan, too. I think this Michigan State team has a swag. And I think they're not scared of Michigan. And the whole that's a thing that, like, media talks about, coaches talk about that. Kids don't. Did you ever talk about that when you were playing? Like, oh, we beat them twice. I don't know if we can beat them again. You beat somebody twice, and you're like, they're ours. I don't think these kids are afraid of playing Michigan. I think they would welcome it a third time.
I mean, I don't know.
Kentucky could not beat Tennessee for a third time.
I have Michigan State winning this region. I do not think they're the most talented team in this region. I really don't. I think Auburn's much more talented than them. I'd be surprised if Auburn beats them. There's just something to this Michigan State team. There's like a grit and a toughness that's hard to find in this day's game. And they trust each other. This was ugly, but they figured out a way to beat Ole Miss.
Tom Izzo in March, continuing to be reliable here as Michigan State advances to the Elite Eight. Tom Izzo with 11 Elite Eight appearances since 1996. He matches these guys. These all are going to be in the Hall of Fame by the end of their careers. 11 Elite Eights. Tom Izzo trying to get them back to the Final Four. That's where they were 2019. The only national championship coming in 2000. Would like to put another banner in East Lansing.